Present.
Here.
Present.
Here. Here.
Present. Do we have a motion to excuse absent members?
I make a motion, we excuse absent board members.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, same sign. Motion carries. Item 2 is approval of minutes of June 6, 2022, regular call meeting. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Has been moved and second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Now in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, same sign. Motion carries. Item B is revenues and expenses and expenditure report for the months of May and June of 2022.
All right, good evening, gentlemen. Michael Furnick, golf course manager, Tierra del Sol. May's revenues, $74,795 against expenditures of $94,971. Going into June, June's revenue numbers are 79,760 against expenditures of $117,107. When we take a look through the year, our progressive revenues less expenditures. For the month ending in June, we are at 162,300 versus last year's same time frame in June of 171,728. So even with the expenditures being higher in May and June for the year, we are still below what we did last year as far as expenditures go, and revenues are up.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, for June of this year, I noticed that the expenditures are considerably more than the same time in June. I know in 20, I guess it was the pandemic year, and we shut down. But in last year we had 96. Do you know what that would be attributed to, Mike?
Yeah,
20,000?
most of this is the cost of doing business. Supplies have gone up, freight to get things to us. And especially back in April,
Yeah.
we had $100,000 fee for an architect that's on there too. So that's also still in there. But it's basically just the cost of doing business. Everything has gone up.
Thank you, Mike. That's all I have, sir.
You know, Mike, it keeps surprising me that every month it seemed like we're making more money even though we don't have any tournaments.
True.
And I always thought that by making tournaments that usually it was a good revenue for us, and it doesn't seem like it.
Correct. Times have changed. What's happened is down here when golf courses are hosting tournaments, play is going elsewhere. Okay. As an example, this past Saturday, there were 2 tournaments going on, one at Champion Lakes and then one at Los Lagos. We weren't. And we had one of our best Saturdays on record. Over 120 rounds, over $5,000. It was a good Saturday. So that's what's happened. The dynamic has changed. There's still a lot of people playing. There are more people playing golf, and those people, when there's a tournament at another course, they're going to go somewhere. And so we are benefiting from that.
Now a question, last month there was a concern about having breakfast early in the morning. Did you change anything?
I left everything at 6:30. Sure, they're coming in there. I talked to the staff, so on, and we're still opening up at 6:30. So I have not heard anything other than I have not heard any complaints one way or the other, except the staff knows to be more prudent on being on time.
Okay. Any comments from the board? Jaime, have you seen any
Yeah,
changes?
well, I saw the report. We're not actually making any money in the breakfast part of it, and that's all we sell. I mean, no. I've been there a couple of times, and not that they're extremely late, but
Still
they're not there like your
previous.
pro. No, yeah, well, and your pro staff, your staff at the front.
Right.
I mean, the club is open on time and coffee's ready.
Okay. It's just
But
the taco
you
aspect
sit
of it.
there and then you look at the clock and you see them come in and you know they're late.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I'll continue being, I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things, when you take a look at that food and beverage revenue is going, I'm
Nothing.
skipping around a little bit. In the grand scheme of things, food and beverage revenue is ahead of prior year, $18,000. So, it's
is that part
it's
of
doing good.
is that part of not having enough employees back there? You're saving money?
No, that's strictly revenue.
Oh, revenue.
Yep.
Okay.
Have we raised our rates
Hmm?
on the,
No.
on the taco?
No, it's the cheapest rate in town.
Not even a quarter?
We
I
haven't done
mean, you go
anything.
anywhere, it's a quarter,
Yeah.
what do? You just pay it.
Yeah, no, we haven't done anything. So you would think that the volume, because we have more rounds going through there, and again, this is part of my operations report, but because we have more rounds going through there, we're 5,000 rounds ahead of prior year. More people should equate to more extra sales, be it merchandise, be it range balls, be it food and beverage, so on. So, and that's all up. So yes, 5,000 rounds better, but the spending, besides your green fees, cart fees, but the extra spending is proven to be there also. Because otherwise we wouldn't be up in driving range revenue and food and beverage like we are.
We need to raise our rates there and forget the tacos.
So,
Well, just try to get those people in time, and you need
All
to
right.
start talking to them. Make
Just
changes. You
A
need to
quick
change.
comment, Mike, you
Go
did
ahead.
say cost of goods when you explained of why there's more expenses. You said cost of goods have gone up. Has that anything to do with the kitchen at all?
no, when I'm talking about the expenditure side, is basically you get in. The kitchen is only a part of the major expense, so on, because everything in the expenditure column is put together. It has to do with the golf course, supplies needed, fertilizer, equipment repairs, so on and so forth, as well as pro shop merchandise. So basically that number is one lump sum. It's not broken up. So it's a part of it, but not a very big part.
So we don't know how much technically we spend in kitchen expenses in particular.
If you want on kitchen expenses itself, yes, you do.
Okay.
With the expense of, when it comes down to your snack bar supplies and your beer for resale, those are the two items that are relevant to the food and beverage.
Okay, I got it.
Any other comments?
So one more real quick. In retrospect, so your supply side has gone up. Does that therefore mean that our product should have, I guess, more value? And therefore, I mean, have the golf courses increased because of they're spending more, not necessarily on labor, but on supply side?
No,
They're not.
most golf courses have not gone up. The only one I know that has gone up or will be going up will be Champion Lakes.
So for instance, like if I were to pick one of these samples on the cost of goods sold for instance, beer and wine, we're at 59%. So we're basically saying that's the gap. So it costs us this much and we're making this much. And if you were to do an analysis, you would say that was the same gap the year before, irregardless of whether you sold 10 units or 20 units.
20 units.
The gap is still the same,
The gap
or
would be,
did it shorten?
no, the gap would still be the same.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay.
Because especially with the beer, Okay, the quantities that are coming and so on, it's just the quantities coming in. The delivery fee does not change. Beer prices have not changed.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's strange, but that's true. Beer prices have not changed. So, that's, we're just ordering more.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. There's no other comments. Go on to item D, this golf course renovation projects or project. We are having a budget workshop on the 30th of this month. And we are gonna be discussing how much money we're gonna have budgeted for renovation. As I mentioned before, we're supposed to start this year, the renovation. But because of the high cost of what's happened is that a lot of our projects that we had on the books, it usually went up about 40% higher. So we ran out of money as far as the other things that we had. So everything is costing more money. So we had to do a budget amendment and all that stuff. So we don't want to go into a project where we don't have things budgeted already. And our proposed budget that we had is not appropriate. So we, on the 30th, we'll find out exactly how much we're gonna have budgeted for the golf course. It's something that we are planning on doing. However, I don't know at this point how much is gonna be allocated for the golf course.
Mr. Chairman,
With
do you
that
have
being said, sir,
a ballpark?
Well, we have a ballpark on the golf course itself. It's like a 3 million. And for the clubhouse, it's like a 5 million project. I mean, whether it gets approved or not, I mean, we don't know yet. But that's the preliminary information that we've gotten so far.
on that side note, considering that I'm not disagreeing with you, sir, but I think the golf course was was at 4 million, and the time frame of it is still really what I was kind of hoping that we could look at this evening. So on is more of a definite time frame. Meaning myself, the pro shop, so on, and certain members here of the advisory board are being slammed by people wanting to know exactly the date and what they need to do so they can make their plans.
Yeah.
So
And
on, and
that's-
that's a really tough situation. We understand, but it's getting close enough to where more of a definite plan, a definite date rather than a range would be helpful.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know
at
if
this
it's
point,
too
we don't
early.
know because
Okay.
not until we have a definite amount that we're gonna be spending
And we'll know that.
on the 30th of this month, we'll know how much is gonna
That's-
be allocated. So we have a good idea as to what we can do and what we cannot do.
Okay.
And at that point, we'll set up a schedule, or the city manager will.
Well, with revenues going up like they are with the golf course, that's a good thing.
And that's a good thing. And the thing is that it surprises me that being that we don't have any golf tournaments, that we're doing even better. So it's a good thing for us. But I would love to see us do a lot of things with our golf course. And one of the things that on the 5 million that I'm talking about with the club, we're also talking about having a driving range where we have a 2-tier driving range where they can have something like what Top Golf has, but like a 2-tier, not like Top Golf, but so there's golf courses that have they hit balls from the bottom and then a higher tier
Sure.
that they can hit
Sure.
some more balls from the top and have lighting and everything else so that we can provide better services for that. And I think right now you used to have a driving range north of Pharr and we no longer have it. So I think that would be a great thing for us if people can go practice after hours.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's part of the plan that we have. But again, until we do the budget, we're not sure how much the commission is
Willing.
gonna be allocating.
How much they're willing to I look
And
at-
how much we can afford to do. I mean, that's the whole thing. And
I guess I'm with Mike on this. The sooner we know, the better off we will be with our winter Texans. If you look at the amount of money that they bring in, beginning in October, I mean, it's important. So if we can keep them, well, at least if we can be honest and say,
Yeah.
go look for, or we'll try to help
Exactly.
you get you some membership somewhere else, that
Correct.
type of stuff.
So we don't want to lose that.
No,
But
well, no, we don't want to lose the goodwill
correct.
by helping them get situated someplace else.
So, Mr. Chairman, with that being said, I guess the most important thing is you don't control the purse. Obviously, it's
Mhm.
based on whatever the commission decides. Worst case scenario, let's just say that the commission, because we already have money allocated for other projects that have already started, obviously that's going to be up here first before it gets to us. We haven't started.
Right.
So if they decide we can't, my main concern, Mr. Chairman, is that we still put a good product out there
Oh,
yeah,
and be ready with whatever. And then as far as what you're telling the public, I would assume you're just telling them, look, right now, I really don't know. All I can tell you is we're
Exactly.
open.
Yeah.
We're gonna be open until they tell me we're not gonna be open,
Mhm.
right?
And again, without interrupting you, or Mr. Chairman, a good product means what I saw a week ago in at the course, Parks and Wildlife. They are all wildlife. The Parks Department had a whole crew out there doing cleanup and doing a great job, and the course looks fabulous. So we need to keep that kind of product out there. Keep it trim. I mean, Robert Hernandez's group did a great job with it. I don't know how long they worked. How long? I saw them a couple
They were
of
there
days.
for the week, Monday through Friday. They came over at a request. We had some personnel out with COVID.
Oh, okay.
and
So you
so-
didn't have enough personnel. You didn't have enough
We
to.
did. No. So that was and we were able to get a Parks and Rec crew out to the golf course.
They
to
did a
help
great
us.
job.
Yes, they did. They
wow,
did.
that's great. Well, I think one of the things that we need to make sure that they convey to everybody who wants to play golf is that we keep up with the golf course.
Yeah.
Because
We
that's
can
the most
keep up
important
with-
thing.
Correct. Agreed. Totally agree.
And-
Get that so on, but we cannot control what's happening underground. And irrigation is a big part of that. And when you've got pipes busting left and right, we had 2 breaks this past week that we had to shut down an entire fairway because we had to shut down the valves for the entire fairway. And this time of year and with the heat, that's a problem. And we've got greens that are suffering because of the irrigation, what's happening out there, discoloration, so on and so forth. So again, I understand, Efrain here understands, but we don't know what's happening beneath the ground. And when there's breaks and there's downtime. And that takes 1 or 2 days, 1 or 2 days to fix. If we're lucky, we have the parts and we can get it fixed within a shorter time frame.
Do you have an ability to do hand watering at all?
Mhm. But that comes down to personnel. And we may have not been doing as much as we need to on that aspect, but correct, we do have that ability.
Mike, if we get into water restriction situation, historically speaking, we never had to worry about that because the affluent water that we use, correct? So that wouldn't affect us.
That will not affect us.
Well, Mike, if you start having more problems with the underground, then maybe you need to make sure we contact that. Make sure that Sergio knows about it and contact him as
Yeah.
soon as possible.
Well, yeah.
So if he can get you help or whatever
Well,
you need
most of
to
the
do.
stuff we can do, gentlemen, so on, we can fix on our own. We have the equipment to fix it. It's just a matter of the bodies to fix it. But when we have to pull, with that being said, if we have to pull off bodies that would be on a weed eater normally to fix the leak, so on, then yeah, we're going to be down. We're going to be
Well, so
down
that's what I'm-
down that manpower.
That's what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that if you need manpower, then maybe you need to contact Sergio so
Yeah.
he can get you somebody
Yeah.
to help you when you're doing
You can find
that.
people willing to work too.
Yeah.
So-
The thing is, he has more ability to pull people. He has
True.
a lot more staff.
Yes.
You don't.
Yeah.
So just make sure that he helps you out because
He does.
you know
He does.
And I think that's the only thing we can do until we actually start replacing everything,
Yeah.
which is something we're gonna be doing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That's all I have as far as the
Thank you, gentlemen.
updates. Like I said, August the 30th is our budget workshop, and that's when we're gonna know how much we're gonna be allocating for the golf course, and we'll let you all know in the next meeting. Any other
Well, I
comments?
guess we got to all of the things we were gonna talk about anyway by asking questions, right? I mean, yeah, I mean, that's all here.
Okay. And if there's no other questions, I need a motion for adjournment. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have moved in second for us to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, same sign. Motion carries. We adjourn.